me introduce to the world Mr. Chris Kehler.
Live from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, I am Chris Kehler. Bob, how you doing tonight, my friend?
We are whaling. It's warm here.
It's warm. Well, you know what? We're starting to get the warmth in Winnipeg. The snow is almost gone.
Oh, really?
I see brown grass
Wow.
right outside my window. And we're above zero temperatures now, so that's a real good thing. We're starting to hit spring, and the nice thing about Winnipeg, we got seasons. We got fall, winter, spring, summer. We've got all the seasons, and it's not just the same weather all the time. It's nice to see the seasons come and go.
We don't have any seasons. I'm serious. But really, I mean, like I come from up north, like you. And it's, you're used to like snow and leaves and colors and all that kind of stuff. It's green here all the time, The leaves, some leaves do fall down, but that's about the size of it. Snow, forget it.
That's nice, but yeah, the season changes. You ask anybody what they like about in Canada like this, you're going to say the seasons are certainly, like you get the changes in leaf color, you get the snow, you get the difference in temperature. It's really nice. It sure breaks things up. We got an interesting show tonight. We got a really good friend of mine here to talk about Orgonite and all of its wonderful properties. Now, a bit of an update. Again, the Arcturians. Some of my people doing my work will disagree with me, and that's okay. A lot of people out there will disagree with me, and that's okay. But the Arcturians are definitely force to be reckoned with. They are definitely the ET du jour, if you will, of what we're trying to fight, and the whole consciousness that is influencing humanity in different ways. Now, one of the big things that I'm finding, it's almost like an inbreeding of the two species. That's basically what's going on here within humanity, depending on how much Arcturian DNA you have in your body, or even reptilian DNA for that matter. It's not jibing with the human DNA, and it is causing a lot of these DNA-type problems. All of these problems that can't be explained are stemming from the DNA not meshing with the human DNA. So I've been clearing tons of Arcturian DNA out of people, and it is making differences. A beautiful thing about true quantum healing is that it does take all of these concepts, these conspiracy, we apply them, and all of a sudden things change. So you know that there's validity to it.
Well, hey, Chris, we are relatives of each other anyway. Aren't we? Aren't we just
certainly?
Yeah,
certainly.
But aren't we just wrapping it a little too tight?
Yeah, that's really what it is. Let's call it a Crimea.
Well, okay.
Where you've got two different species intermingling,
right,
creating that DNA incompatibility. Ultimately, a form of inbreeding or outbreeding, let's say, that is really causing problems. And then today, all of a sudden, my labs are starting to be shaken up, and I found that there is a lot of white noise weaponry coming from Jupiter hitting humanity and causing problems. Let's move on. Enough of my babble. Ty, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Hi, Chris. Hi, Bob.
Hello, Ty.
Ty and Nora, they are a team. They practice true quantum healing. They are colleagues of mine. We do some pretty interesting work together. One of the big things that Ty and Nora do is they create their own type of Orgonite. And tonight we're going to be answering some questions. How did you get into making all this wonderful looking Orgonite?
Basically, about 5 years ago, I got electromagnetic sickness, and a friend of mine gave me a little crystals and some Orgonite, and it turned down the tinnitus in my ears by about 90%. That started me down the road of understanding that crystals and Orgonite and subtle energies do work. I've been a mad scientist ever since.
Mad, yes. Okay, for the layperson out there, so what exactly is Orgonite?
There's the official trademark version, which is basically carbon with powdered metals. And a guy in Austria, he didn't invent it, but he trademarked it. It's a substance that's been around probably thousands of years. I have evidence that was called Aeroid. I have a paper right here. Eteroid, excuse me. And then I have another alchemical guy who had been using something similar in the 1800s. And there's reports of it being around forever. Basically, anytime anyone's created a device with metal and carbon, you've got Orgonite.
So Orgonite is an organic material.
It's a mixture of organic and metallic substances. Metals and, in this case, resins, either natural or polyester resins, beeswax, anything that has carbon, and anything that would have metal. Aluminums, coppers, bronze, steels, irons.
So these are all building materials of the earth, of our bodies, and they're put together within this resin. The resin is what holds everything together. It is like a form of alchemy now, isn't it? Because you're taking all these different organic materials, carbons, the metals, and everything, and it's creating a mixture within itself and within the energy field.
Correct. Yeah, it's a synergetic mixture. The modern stuff that people have been making have added to it, and they've added crystals and coils and frequency and intent and different shapes and resonances to create kind of even a different type of life energy broadcaster, you could call it.
We're programming this to maybe tweak it for certain instances, correct?
I do. I like to keep the programming very, very simple, very much within the lines of the true quantum healing, true heart resonance, recharging true. I work with a couple of solfeggio frequencies and heart resonance frequencies to charge them, but keeping it very simple. I don't generally program it for a very specific task. I like to keep it just a very broad intent.
A few of the big questions I get when somebody wants to buy some Orgonite is, how do I use it? Where do I use it? What piece do I buy? Because you got many different pieces, of course, with different crystals in it, different components. What would a person want to consider first before they even wanted to go out and buy some Orgonite?
When you were acquiring them, you get them for two different purposes, either for protection or maybe making your space a more sacred life energy space. So there's the enhancing of the energy of your house, your farm, your city, or there's the protective part. I kind of mix both. So you get kind of the best of both worlds in my pieces.
Kind of a 2-in-1.
Yeah. The piece that I would most recommend starting with, and you have two pieces on your side, those are the plates, the charging plates. If you get that piece, you can pretty much do just about anything with Orgonite.
The Octogon charging plate, I got a real nice broadcast microphone, and I go and sitting underneath my microphone whenever I use it.
Perfect.
That's going to keep the line a little clearer and help the broadcast to be not so feedback.
Right. One of the things you can do with the charging plate, besides using it to clean and broadcast energies, is you can use it almost like a neutralization sun ring combo.
Okay.
One side grabs energy and filters it. The other side broadcasts. So you could put it on a body part to remove pain or discomfort, and then flip it over and then put it on the body part to start flowing life energy or bioscalar frequencies or whatever we're calling, these healthy energies.
I've heard a lot of comments. I've got a ton of people who buy stuff off my website, and I get feedback, which is, I love feedback. I want to know things are working. I want to know things are happening. I did get a comment once that somebody bought about 6 pieces off of me, and they put them in different corners of the house in the basement, and they put one on the electrical panel of their house. And this was a household that had lots of turmoil, kids and adults and everybody always arguing and nobody kind of getting along. After about a week or so, all of a sudden the person noticed that things are a lot calmer in the house. Things aren't quite as rowdy as they used to be.
That's very interesting because electricity has a lot of, frequency modulation and all these dirty radio signals and probably some creepy stuff too. And that sounds really good to grid it and then put it on, near the electrical box, just to kind of add a resonant frequency to your electricity or zero out any nonsense that might be going through it. So
yeah, my house is, of course, I've got stuff everywhere. I've got some piece of Orgonite on the electrical box. I've got a neutralization ring on the main wire coming into the house. I've got some magnets sitting the four corners of the electrical box. I've got some frequency enhanced patches that I make on my own with my radionic device to keep all stray electricity within the box. I got a ton of stuff on my electrical box. I had an electrician come in the other day to wire something up, and he says, "What's this stuff on your electrical box?" And I said, "Don't worry about it. It's all good." I also put stuff on the water line. A lot of people have a copper water line in their house. If you're in an old house, you might have a lead water line. But even the Orgonite, a piece of Orgonite, and electrical taping it to the water line, that's going to make some changes also within the water coming into your house. It's going to vortex it properly, straighten out the molecular structure of the water a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Structured water is quite a big topic these days. I'm from my research, the water coming around in right angles and going through all these pipes kind of destroys the living essence of water. And using different things like vortexing machines and just simply using crystals in the water, putting your water bottle over a charging plate that I would make would be all excellent ways to kind of the resonant frequency of the water.
Every time you turn around, you do any research on water, everybody's talking about this gizmo for that water. This water is the best. That water is the best. I get a little bit nauseous when I hear all of this stuff about water, and this water is bad. That water is good. This pH is good. It's really something that somebody could really get turned around with. So what I always recommend for people with water is, you know what? Just do the best you can with water, but add some kind of energy to it. Something like a neutralization ring, a sun ring, Orgonite, Shungite really well with water. Just add a little something to it. Don't worry about going to trek 10,000 miles to find the perfect spring water off Mount Ooga Booga or something like that. By the time you get it back, it's probably been radiated 50 times. So all I do is take some simple things, add it to the water, run some energy into the water quickly, and you got yourself perfect water. Even if you're drinking tap water, you put it on some Orgonite, you put it on a neutralization ring, you take a sun ring, and you just say fluoride false, and the fluoride is now neutralized. It's still in there, but it's inert, and it's not going to do anything to your pineal gland. It's not going to hurt your body in any way.
Hi, this is Nora.
Yes, Nora. How are you, my dear?
Good. How are you guys?
Hey,
we're
fine.
absolutely perfect. Good to hear you.
Yes, I just want to shout out to all the quantum healers out there. They're doing a great job. And I just want to say how amazing this work is. It's completely changed my life. I'm very happy with doing the work, with doing the quantum healing, and also, having the Chris Kehler's healings. And I also have some tips on how to use the Orgonite. I love using the pendants when I'm out in public, when I know that because I'm a very sensitive person, and if there's a lot of machines, that usually helps me. It grounds my energy, and I have my mind more clear. And also it assists me when I have to be around the type of people that vampirizes off of people's energy.
Right.
I noticed that I'm able to manage that vibration better when I have the pendants or an Orgonite with me. There is more likely that they don't also attach their cording with me also. So those are some of the tips that I use the Orgonite for.
Between you and Kai, you just came up with a new pendant. You designed a new pendant using the Orgonite mixture that you use, and really soon they're going to be on my website. I just got them in the mail a little while back, and they're beautiful pendants. Let me tell you, nicely wire wrapped, beautiful looking pendants that people are going to want to wear. They're not just an energy thing that's kind of out there where people look at that and say, "What the heck are you wearing?"
Yeah.
These are actually nice looking pieces of jewelry, and they're not going to be that expensive either. We're going to keep them under $50 for sure, but there's something new, something different. You don't see a lot of them. And they're really great looking, so I'm looking forward to getting those on the website. Now, another thing that Ty and I have been working really diligent at is coming up with the perfect pendulum.
Ah, yes. The bane of my existence for a while.
The perfect pendulum. Now, between Ty and I, we basically use the same style of dowsing. I don't know if anybody has seen the style of dowsing I do. We have an Orgonite, piece of Orgonite with a chain on it. Now, I don't hold the pendulum at the end of the chain and let it swing curiously over the charts. I take that pendulum, I hold it right at the connection where the chain connects to the pendulum, and my arm moves back and forth, and I follow the energy of where the pendulum wants to go. For that type of dowsing, the weight of the pendulum is very specific. The size of it, to hold onto it properly, and to get the right movement out of it, we've added a Herkimer diamond to it, used Ty's Orgon mix, minerals, herbs, and 11 spices and stuff like that. We can make them. We've got a whole bunch of those too. We're going to be putting those on the website. I mean, here's a guy who does nothing but douse for a living, and I got my own website, and I got no pendulums on the website. It's like going to a shoe store and having no license to buy for your shoes. So we're getting these pendulums, we're getting the pendants and pendulums on the website really soon, hopefully in a week or two. Many people ask me for pendulums. What's the best pendulum? What's the best pendulum? As far as pendulums go, you can take a piece of dried dog poop, put it on a string, and get something out of it. I mean, it's organic.
Put it on the neutralization ring first.
Ultimately, anything that's of an organic nature, okay? Crystal pendulums tend to work the best, but ultimately it's your own consciousness and subconsciousness that is making it swing and making it work. The pendulum is just a tool, but the better connection you can have between the pendulum and your consciousness, subconsciousness, and your soul, better the answers are going to be. So I can use basically almost any type of pendulum. But the one that Ty has made, because of its weight, because of its design, it's a lot easier to use. It gives me the best answers. I've used some pendulums that are too heavy. You can't get any movement out of it. It just doesn't want to do anything for me. So these ones are working really good. They're going to be on the website, and they're going to rock. They're going to change the way people douse.
Absolutely, and I love them because I don't have to be constantly clearing my pendulum. Use a quartz crystal. I notice I get a lot of interferences.
That's right.
And with these pendulums, they're designed to keep themselves clear, so I can continue working and not stopping every 5 minutes to clear my pendulum.
Well, I go 8-9 hours a day.
Wow.
Okay, it's basically nonstop dowsing all day long. And I don't have to clear this pendulum. It stays clear all the time. It's one person to the next. No problem. If I feel I might need some clearing, I'll throw it in the neutralization ring for a second, and it's instantly cleared. But yeah, you're right. It's always true. It's always giving me the right answers, and it doesn't judge me. It's a beautiful pendulum.
That's great.
It doesn't criticize me. Ty, on your Orgonite pieces, I noticed that there is a coil that you put within all of them. Tell me about the coil.
Basically, there's a lot of names for it. There's it's called a Galaxy 2 Tesla coil. Basically, it creates a vortex energy, spinning the energy counterclockwise or clockwise, thus moving it either up or down. So there's like a receptive side where the energy is going into it, and there's a broadcast side. And the reason why you would add this to some Organites, so none of the energy really gets stuck. There's always this tendency to keep the energy flowing and filtering through the Orgonite and always producing a clean energy out of it. So it just very much enhances the product. And the coils also do a little bit of, if there's more than like 4 turns, I guess, that'll kind of give a little bit of a scalar field too, which it's a big discussion. Scalar energy is a big discussion, but a healthy scalar energy too.
Don't you need magnets to create a scalar?
No, I think anything that creates cancellation frequencies, you can do it with photons, you can do it with magnetics, you can do it with electromagnetic frequencies, electricity, you can do it with sound. It's a very broad description for standing waves.
There's a lot of people talk of scalar this, scalar that. And you look on the internet, on YouTube, and everybody's making a scalar something. I think it's the word du jour to make something sound fancy. I don't know.
Sounds fun.
We've got all these different shapes of Organite that you make too. You've got pyramids, you've got octagons, you've got all these different shapes. Is there anything that a person needs to know about what shape a person might want to use in their home?
Absolutely. Any disc that's rounder, will be more protective. Orbs, the cones. Yeah, just anything that's a rounder shape will actually absorb energy more. And I do make some spheres and some other rounder shapes specifically to like grab naughty entity energies or EMF. Now the traditional pyramid shape, that would be more for broadcasting. Like if you're trying to create a sacred space or something with a more of a, oh gosh, I have a pyramid here that's made with aquamarine, which has its own spiritual frequency. That would be broadcasting that healing energy more into the room.
There is things people should educate themselves a little bit with, at least. That, again, that's one of the biggest questions I get is, what do I need? Because you see all these beautiful pieces in front of you, and it's like, how do I pick? I always say, what does your heart tell you? Wave your hand over them, and wherever your hand drops, wherever you're drawn to, that's really the one you want. That's how I used to pick my pendulums. I'd go into a crystal store, and I'd just look at them and point my finger, and I would just grab one and be, that one is it, okay? It tended to work very well for me.
Yeah, and they all get charged with my 40-plus procedure. Nothing ever leaves my house without it being tuned up perfectly.
Attaboy, Ty. Now, what's new in store? You got anything in the works? Anything that...
I'm going to be making a new outdoor piece of Orgonite with some pipes using copper and galvanized steel, just for traveling, just to keep me feeling good while I travel through this big EMF field over here. That's a new thing. I'm working with some new stones this year that are just a lot of fun and very cleansing. Working with some Brandenburg Namibians, which are super protective. I'm working with a small little dodecahedron type orgone sort of crystal called rhodozite. Mm-hmm. It's very, very wonderful. I call it loud. Just has a very big field. Been working with that. What else am I going to be doing? I've been working with moldavite, which is a meteorite, I guess. What they say, it's a green meteorite. It's very, very high vibration. See, I've got some tanzanite I'm going to start working with, which is another very expensive stone normally, but I got some tumbled stones that are cheaper. Yeah, this is very shamanic-y stone. It's very much if you're meditating and you really wanted to connect with source or the trees or whatever, that would be like a really good stone to do that.
Hey, Bob, you got a question for Ty?
Yeah, I had a quick one while he was talking about the stones and things that they use for different things. There was a lot of questions too that came up a couple of weeks ago about smart meters, and a lot of people are getting headaches, aches, joints, muscles, all these kind of things. Can Orgonite put on a meter or the box or around the box stop that?
Lead would stop it. That's what stops it.
Yeah, but then
what
they
Orgonite
can't
would do is reharmonize the electromagnetic field, so it's less damaging. So, yes, whenever I'm around a smart meter, which I don't normally be around those things, but yes, I put those on the smart meter or maybe on the inside wall where the smart meter would be outside. I put it on the inside wall. And that makes me feel like it cleans up the environment a lot. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what you can do is you can make a hammer out of Orgonite and just break that smart meter.
Yeah.
Then you go to
Best thing to do.
Yeah, then you go to jail,
Yeah.
and
if you can, you just some places you can't, but some you can just call up your electric company saying I want it.
Yeah, you can't. I've tried that myself. Just to from getting emails from people. And then I said, well, why don't I do that? And we've had a complaint of somebody here in this building and that they're hurting. They always got a headache or anything else in that. So what I did was I put together this contraption where there's aluminum around the mirror itself on the outsides where it actually transmits from. And the headaches went away.
Great.
Yeah, that would be kind of like building a Faraday cage of some sort.
Yes,
And
yes.
that would work very well, yes.
That's great.
Exactly. So that's what I did. So now I'm waiting to see whether the guy that comes by and reads these meters, whether he's going to be able to after I blocked it off. So we'll
I think
see.
he's going to be able to.
Yeah, but there's millions of these meters all over North America. All over.
Sorry.
So if there's a way that this can be made easier for the people who have these anomalies and headaches and pains and everything else, I mean, you'd be selling your brains out.
Right.
Well, there's some simple ways around it. A lot of it has to do with grounding because it's an
That too.
EMF, it's
Yep.
an ELF. There's certain areas in your body are grounded properly. You can even just take a piece of copper wire, attach it to that EF meter, and run it into the ground. Just ground it.
Oh.
There's a lot of things you can do. There's tensor rings, which is made by another company. You can put
Brian
those
Best.
around the smart meter. You can do Altura stickers. There's a whole bunch of methods you can experiment with.
There is. And you can research all different ways and find them. We're out of time. Ty and Nora, you guys are lovely. I love you guys to death. I want to come down and meet sometime. This is Chris Kehler. We are out of here.